Welcome to On the Radar. Short analytical briefings based on aggregated public discourse and narrative trend monitoring. Today's topic is rare earth metals and strategic critical mineral sourcing, and how public discussion around this topic is shifting in focus and priority. These signals reflect patterns of concern across industry discussion, supply chain commentary, and policy and manufacturing communities, and they represent frequency and consistency of concern rather than editorial judgment. Across current public conversation, several themes are emerging together, and they reflect a movement away from basic availability questions toward institutional and trust-related risks. One major area of rising concern is regulatory and compliance challenges for domestic sourcing of critical minerals. Public discussion increasingly highlights that even when mineral deposits exist locally, permitting timelines, environmental requirements, and coordination across multiple agencies can significantly delay development and production readiness. In many conversations, the issue is not whether the minerals exist, but whether regulatory systems can move fast enough to secure reliable supply. This framing shifts attention away from geology and toward institutional execution, risk, and long-term policy friction. At the same time, there is growing attention on authenticity, purity, and quality verification as interest in rare earth sourcing expands. Public discourse frequently raises questions about how buyers can confirm material composition, technical specifications, and production standards, especially when dealing with unfamiliar suppliers, specialty product forms, or incomplete documentation. For industrial energy and defense-related applications, quality assurance is not optional, and even small deviations can have significant downstream impact. Here, the central risk being discussed is not price, but trust and verification. Meanwhile, earlier discussion around limited inventory and product availability appears less frequently. Prior conversation often focused on scarcity and difficulty finding specialized or exotic elements, but more recent discourse suggests that supply visibility has improved, or that attention has shifted toward higher-order concerns. This does not imply that availability challenges are resolved, but it does indicate that they are no longer the dominant driver of public concern. In parallel, several earlier narrative themes are now dropping out of active discussion, including lack of institutional partnerships for strategic sourcing and general awareness of rare earth investment alternatives beyond traditional precious metals. This suggests that discourse is consolidating around operational barriers rather than exploratory market education or speculative interest. What is notable in this overall pattern is the movement from surface-level questions toward systemic constraints. From "can we get it" to "can we legally source it" and "can we verify it?" From discovery toward execution and governance. From a narrative monitoring perspective, this reflects a shift toward compliance, friction, trust frameworks, and institutional capacity rather than novelty or speculation. These kinds of transitions are often associated with later stage market and policy risk rather than early stage awareness cycles. Within the global insight application, signals like these contribute to risk framing, supply chain exposure assessment, and response-oriented recommendations, while interpretation and decision-making remain with the user and their operating context. If you would like to explore the underlying signals behind this briefing, you can review the current analysis at globalinsight.ai and examine how these themes continue to evolve over time. Thank you for watching. If this briefing was useful, please like, comment, and subscribe to see future updates as new topics move onto the radar.